Today is the day that we are having a mid-year reset. I love doing this sometime in around the middle of the year just to check in with our yearly goals, do any kind of reset activities that I feel like we could really use at the moment just to give us a little pep in our step, some inspiration for the rest of the year. And since it is July, I felt like this was the perfect time just to go through everything and see where we're at. I want to start off by going through our yearly goals and seeing where we're at for those 2023 goals. If you guys remember, I did a whole video on just my goals, intentions for the year, and so I want to reflect and see where we're at, where we can be better, maybe change some things here and there. I also am thinking about making a new vision board. Originally, I just decided that I was going to kind of modify the one that I made for 2023, but I can't find it. So we're probably just going to make a whole new one, probably with similar images, but I actually keep it as my laptop background. And so I always like to switch it up just to give me kind of some fresh inspiration for the rest of the year. Because we just moved into this house, there really isn't a ton of resetting that I want to do in terms of, you know, deep cleaning, going through things, but there are already some areas that I would love to declutter. For one, my makeup drawer, I want to go through that. I want to go through our clothing bins, just kind of see what we need to go through in terms of getting rid of clothes, making more space. I would love to declutter our fridge a little bit, just wipe it down, make sure that looks clean because it is already looking very, very used and could use a bit of a cleaning. I would also love to clean our stove. We do have a gas stove and I'm loving it, but it does get a little bit dirtier than our old electric one. So I'd love to just give that a little bit of a clean and also refresh our flowers. I kind of just like to mix and match our flower bouquets depending on what is living, what is not. And so we definitely need to go through there and refresh those. And then I'd love to do a lot of the other activities that I do in my monthly reset, like organize my tax spreadsheet that keeps track of all my expenses, income, all of that. And then finish off by planning out my calendar and doing a bit of a digital declutter. So lots to do today. Let's get started. I have my 2023 goals pulled up here on Notion, which I like to use for any sort of goal planning or calendar planning, not so much calendar planning, but all kind of the other aspects of my life. I'll leave the template that I like to use from Becca Watson. I really, really like it. It makes it easy just to kind of understand Notion. These are goals that I set back in January. Starting off with work things, I had to create content that I genuinely enjoy. This is something that I feel that I have been doing a lot over the last year. I would say in the past few months, obviously there have been some life changes going on, and so I don't feel like the content I've been creating has been as much, not necessarily from the heart, but I do think that I am kind of yearning to have that creative spark and energy back from creating just kind of different videos. And so I'm excited to try to get back into that within, you know, the end of the summer, getting into fall. But of course, it's been so much fun sharing so much about just pregnancy and baby stuff and kind of trying to find that balance is something that I've been working on lately. I had to hire a new team member. This is something that I am still in the process of possibly doing. I haven't done yet, but I do anticipate by the end of the year will probably be something that is happening. Restarting monthly resets. We have been keeping up with this. I did miss last month, but that's because I knew I wanted to do this mid-year reset, and so kind of just put this in place of that. More travel content. I have really been trying to record a lot of our travels, which has been so much fun, and I think especially our Kauai vlog is one of my favorites that I've posted. And then I had to be more organized with finances and my business expenses. This is something that I feel like we have actually done a really great job at since getting an accountant and just having more organization when it comes to bookkeeping. And so work goals I think are going pretty strong so far. For personal, I had to have an open heart toward motherhood, and this one is of course really special because I remember at the time that I wrote this, I knew that it was a possibility that we would get pregnant in 2023 just with my timing and everything. I've talked about that more in my first trimester recap if you want to watch that. I think that there was a part of me that really doubted that was actually going to happen, and so to see it on here and especially to see just photos of motherhood on my vision board is so special because that is something that is going to be happening this year. And while it can be kind of scary to think about that, I think so many other areas of your life, it's kind of easy, not easy, but you can really anticipate those changes and prepare for them. And of course, we can do that as much as possible right now, but I've never been a parent before. We've never been parents before. And so that's something that you can only prepare for so much, but I'm just really so thankful is a part of our journey in 2023. I had to pray for Aiden more frequently. That is something that I've definitely been doing. I think I've been a lot more mindful in my quiet times. I've also talked about this in vlogs recently too, but I just try to be more mindful about incorporating that more. Set the tone of our home well. This too, I think, especially since being in this new house, it is so much fun to really make this house feel like a home, and it is such a homey home. I'm so thankful for everything lining up. I remember when we saw this listing on Zillow when it popped up, we just weren't sure if it was going to happen. Thought that we might not actually get it because it's just a beautiful home, but I'm so thankful everything worked out because it is truly just so nice. We probably say this once a day how thankful we are to be here. I had more weekend trips. I honestly don't think we've done that many weekend trips. I think we've done longer trips this year. And honestly, I think that for the rest of 2023, we are just not going to be traveling nearly as much with the baby coming and everything. And also, I think especially being in this house now, we just love being home more. We like spending time at home. I don't really have the same desire to do a bunch of weekend trips, but I think we'll probably still have a couple more in the year. We're going on a weekend baby moon soon, which will be a lot of fun. I had to honor the Sabbath. This is one that I'm going to be honest, I don't really think that we have done super well. I think life has been very, very busy lately, and it's always going to be busy. I have been trying to slow down more on the weekends and just not work as much, not put as much pressure on myself. And that is something that I definitely want to be mindful of for the rest of the year too. And lastly was to have less frivolous spending. I think that there are areas of our life that we have done this really well and areas that we haven't. Life has been expensive over the last couple months, and it's definitely about to be more expensive too in the next few months. But one of the areas that we have cut back a lot is on groceries. And this is something when we first got married, I would spend so much on groceries just for the two of us. But these days we have not been spending nearly as much, and a huge part of that has been incorporating every plate into our kind of weekly, monthly routine. I'm so thankful to be partnering with them on today's video. If you guys have watched any of my videos, you know that we love Every Plate. It is a meal kit delivery service, and it is the most affordable meal kit delivery service, especially because I also have a code. You guys can get started with Every Plate for just $1.49 per meal by going to everyplate.com and entering the code 49Michelle. I love to cook from home. It's one of my just favorite simple joys, spending time in the kitchen, especially our kitchen now. It is just so peaceful and calm at night to really not be stimulated mentally, but only work with my hands. And I love that Every Plate makes that so much easier to do. You can pick from a bunch of different recipes that they have on their website for whatever kind of dietary restrictions you may have. We personally do the meat and veggie kit, and I love this because it kind of gives me more exposure into veggie meals, but still having a couple of meat meals if we want those. And it has been a huge help in kind of focusing on that goal, specifically on less frivolous spending. I know you might not think groceries are frivolous, but if you stop in any sort of kind of health whole food store, you know that it's easy to spend on just a bunch of different snacks that seem really fun, but you don't realize you're spending $10 on a bag of chips. And so I love that Every Plate just makes it so much easier to cook from home. Again, you can get started with Every Plate for just $1.49 per meal by going to everyplate.com and entering the code 49Michelle. I will have them linked at the top of the description box. Health was a big one. I had to minimize stress, and this is something that I think that I have done in partly some areas of my life, but obviously with having a baby, that is just a whole kind of new realm of stress that I am entering into. And I know I haven't even had him yet, but of course there's just a lot of, you know, worries and planning for the future that come along with that. And so I don't necessarily think that my stress has gone away. I think that it has just shifted into new realms, which that is just life. That's going to happen as he grows up and as we go through different things within our marriage and our family. But this is something that I'm always trying to be conscious of. I think especially in areas of work related things and other areas of my life, I really have minimized stress. I had cycle syncing my workouts. Of course, right now I'm not really getting a monthly cycle anymore now that I'm pregnant, but I have really tried to shift my workouts as I, change throughout my pregnancy and as I'm feeling different things. And those couple of months of the year before I actually did get pregnant, I was really trying to be mindful of kind of cycle syncing my workout. I had to run a 10K. This is not happening for obvious reasons, although I'm sure a lot of people do run 10Ks when they're pregnant, but this is actually something that I just posted about on my Instagram. But I do think that my days of doing longer runs are coming to a close. goes. I've just felt more kind of pressure and discomfort when I do run these days. And so I'm trying to be mindful of protecting my pelvic floor. And not everyone feels that way either. I'm about 22 weeks right now. And so I'm just trying to kind of shorten the runs and incorporate different styles of cardio right now. But maybe next year, that'll be something that I put on our list of goals. Cleaning out the fridge better when cooking, that was something that I think that I have done a lot better. And by that, I meant just using what we had instead of going to the store and buying a bunch of new stuff for recipes, just trying to incorporate more what we had in the fridge. And that I think we have been doing lately. Keep getting stronger. I have been trying to keep up with strength workouts, but I will say since we stopped going to F45, I don't really push myself nearly as much as I used to. That's also because I'm pregnant and I do kind of miss having that sense of challenge in the gym, but I think that you can have other challenging areas of your life, and that is just not one that I have an urge to really push myself right now, also just for my own health and baby's health and everything. But I do feel like I'm getting mentally stronger, even if it's not necessarily physically stronger all the time. For finances, I had first to purchase an asset, and I think when I wrote this down, I had in my mind that this might be the year that we bought a house, but I don't feel a lot of stress about this. I think that this is something that I've learned is just gonna happen in its own timing when it's the right time in the market and also just the right time for us. I feel really comfortable with where we're at right now, but that is something that I still have on our goal list, but just not for this year. Spending on experiences, this is something that I think that we've really been doing this year with just traveling and spending money on that rather than a bunch of things. I have just found that I'm much happier when that's where I prioritize spending as opposed to buying a lot of clothing or makeup or whatever it is. Using credit card points, this is another thing I think that we've done really great with. I've talked about this on I feel like quite a few of the monthly resets lately. We have just learned especially to use those when traveling. And lastly was to have a cheerful heart when giving. I think that there are obviously always areas to be generous and be thinking about other people. We can definitely still work on this, but I think so far this year we have had chances here and there to do this, and I'm really thankful for that. Popped over to the bathroom because I'm going to declutter my makeup drawer, and by makeup drawer I mean basically I just have this little cart of all my makeup, and it has kind of everything that I use. Actually, not everything that I use every single day, but a lot of just my go-to products. But over time I find it accumulates a lot more than it needs to, and also it gets pretty dirty. So I'm gonna wipe this down. I also like to wipe all my makeup down. It would also be really smart to wash my brushes right now, but I'm not feeling that ambitious. And so I'm just gonna go through, make sure everything in here are things that I actually use pretty frequently and give it a nice cleaning. Okay, I just went through all the makeup. These are all the products that I don't use these every single day. Like these eyelashes obviously are for special occasions, but this is all the makeup that I own pretty much right now. I have a couple of other things in cabinets, but for the most part, this is it. And I just feel better having it all wiped down because sometimes it just gets so messy. So this looks so much better now. Moved over to the bedroom because now I'm gonna go through my drawers right here, which I will say I'm so excited to finally have a dresser. I think that we are about to get one here soon, but this has been our makeshift dresser for the most part. When we moved, I feel like I did a decent job about going through our clothes that I hang up in the closet, but when it comes to these clothes, I definitely just have stuff in there that I don't really wear all the time, and so I want to go through here and do some decluttering. It's also been hard because since my body is changing, a lot of stuff just doesn't fit anymore, and I don't necessarily want to get rid of it, but I find anytime I store clothes, I forget about them, and then when I come back to them, I'm just not about them anymore. We'll see how I pick and choose what I want to keep. I will probably just end up donating these clothes. Sometimes I'll do Poshmark, but these days I just haven't been doing it as much, especially because some of these clothes have also been sent to me for free, so I don't want to sell them. But we're gonna go ahead and go through these and do some decluttering. is our pile that we've accumulated. Most of these things are actually not things I'm giving away. They're just things that don't fit me right now, and so I don't want them to be cluttering my drawers. And I always like to have everything in there be things that I'm actively wearing and I want to see as a valid choice for what to wear for the day. And a lot of these things just aren't these days, especially like these denim shorts that I don't fit into right now. And so half these things I'm gonna go ahead and put in a bag that I keep on hand if I'm ever giving away clothes, and then half I'm just gonna store away. We're now in the kitchen and I'm gonna go ahead and clean the stove. I'll show a close-up shot of what we're working with. It's not the dirtiest ever, but it definitely needs a clean. So we're gonna go ahead and wipe this down and get it looking nice. Now I'm gonna go into the fridge because this fridge has just a little bit of an odd setup. I feel like there isn't a ton of space for storage and everything. And especially if you're someone with a lot of sauces and canned things, that is a thing that I've had a hard time storing. So I'm gonna see if I can go through and try to organize this a little bit better. We also have a section that is broken that I'm gonna try to fix. I don't know why it won't go back on the rack that it needs to, but we're gonna try to fix that, wipe it down, because it just needs a little bit of a cleaning too. These flowers are obviously on their last day today, so we're gonna go ahead and move some of these into this space just to have them all over the house. Okay, the last little activity that I wanted to do was vacuuming our couch. I'm using my Dyson. I love that you can just put on one of their smaller heads. I believe this one is the hair screw tool. It's really great if you have a pet that has a lot of pet hair on the couch. Sounds like an ad. It's not an ad, I just really, really like it. So we're gonna go ahead and clean the couch. I did get it cleaned a little bit ago. If you guys remember, I got it professionally cleaned, and that has definitely kept it feeling so much nicer now. I'll probably do this a couple times a month, maybe once a week if it's really feeling dirty, but it definitely needs this right now. Just poured myself a fun drink, and I'm gonna go ahead and do my vision board on the couch and get comfy, not really feeling like sitting at my desk. So essentially how I like to do this, I use Canva anytime I make any sort of wallpaper, and you can just set it to the dimensions of your laptop screen specifically. And I like to find photos on Pinterest mostly. I'll use quotes. If there are any photos that I actually have of just my personal life, family, whatever, I will throw those on there too. And I have been using my Pinterest pretty often lately. I'll have it linked down below if you're interested. But I honestly already have a lot of stuff saved on there, so I think I'm gonna try to use mostly things from that and just visualize how I want the rest of the year to look, things that make me feel inspired, remind me of those goals that I talked about earlier, and just overall give me a little spark. moved over to my little office space, but I just finished my background, my vision board, and I think it looks so nice. Has a lot of photos that I mostly just find inspiring, but yeah, I think it's nice just having something, especially on your laptop, to remind you of all those things. And now I'm gonna start off by doing a couple of the last things that I wanna do on my laptop. And the first thing is going through our spreadsheet that we keep of just income and expenses. This is specifically for my business. This is something that I tend to do once in my monthly reset. Sorry, Cash is taking a little drink right now, but it's helpful just to stay organized on here, because when I don't do this, and especially around tax season, when that comes around, it is a lot more chaotic to not have this organized. So we're just gonna take some time to go through, organize this. This could also be your budget too, if you have one, whatever you feel like you need. Next up, we are going to add some dates into my calendar. I just use Google Calendar. I've used this for years and I really like that I have it on both my phone and my laptop. I know you can also do calendar planning in Notion, but I just like Google Calendar. I find it to be a little bit easier. The last couple of weeks, we have just booked a lot of stuff in terms of classes, like baby classes, CPR classes, birth classes, all that. And so I just want to make sure I have everything on my calendar ready to go so I don't miss anything. So I'm going to try to look ahead as much as I can, especially the next 6 months or so, rest of the year, and see what we can input. And lastly, I'm gonna do a quick digital declutter on my laptop and also my phone. I think that this is so nice for just not feeling as cluttered in your mind. I think that we can focus a lot on physical clutter, but so much of our lives now are online, digital, especially if it's a place that you're working all the time, like your laptop. It's easy just to feel scattered when that is not clear. And so I like to do this at least periodically when I'm actually working, but especially just taking kind of some time to go through my phone, to go through my photos, my apps, make sure everything on here are things that I'm actually using, I find to be really helpful. That is it for today's video. Again, I love taking the time to have these days just to kind of do all the little things that I often put off that do leave me feeling refreshed. I think especially before the second half of the year, it's always a good time to do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you guys want to check out EveryPlate, I will have them linked down below. You can get your first box for just $1.49 per meal by going to everyplate.com and entering the code Michelle49. So I'll have that below, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye, friends.